Welcome back to the show. And that was an interesting conversation on GBV with Nomsa Papele. But we move now on to something also stringently important. We're going to be speaking to Jaamia Galant from the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Today is the 9th of December. It marks the UN International Day of Commemoration and Dignity of the victims of the crime of genocide and the prevention of this crime. So on this day, we're going to honor the Palestinians enduring over a year of relentless genocidal violence at the hands of the apartheid Israeli state. Today, the Palestine Solidarity Campaign is protesting outside the Cape Town Holocaust and Genocide Center in Hatfield at 2:30 this afternoon. And nobody better than Sister Jaamia from the Palestine Solidarity Campaign to pen out this for us. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure having you on the platform. Talk to us about, the Palestine Solidarity Campaign that is taking place today, the 9th of December. Definitely, we've seen, as we know, many years of genocide, but a full year of absolute serious Holocaust and genocide taking place within Palestine. And, very horrific scenes out there. And I think taking the stand is what we're doing today. So talk to us about that.
Correct. So just to clarify, the protest will be happening in Hatfield in Cape Town, Hatfield Road in Cape Town. I'm saying that because people complain that there's also Hatfield in Pretoria. So
That's
the protest
correct.
is actually outside of the Cape Town Holocaust and Genocide Center, which is in Hatfield Road in Cape Town. And we've chosen this venue because, it claims to be a center for Holocaust history and memory. But of course, in fact, we approached the center to ask if we could hold the protest inside the center, given that it is a center that's meant to kind of memorialize genocide. But it's clear that the center only privileges one genocide, which is the Holocaust of the Jews during World War II. And what we're saying today is that given that it is an international day of commemoration and dignity of the victims of the crime of genocide, we stand for all victims of genocide, both past and present. So these include, for example, Indigenous Americans, Indigenous Australians, Congolese, Sudanese, Rwandans, Namibians, Irish, Bosnians, Poles, Jews, Roma, Czechs, Armenians, and Slavs, and of course, at this very moment, all of the Palestinians. And we say this, like you say, because there's not been a genocide only in the last year. This has been an incremental genocide, as we know, that started from 1948 with the first Nakba. And this has been ongoing. In the last year, we've just seen an incremental increase or exponential increase in the violence that Israel has perpetrated against Palestinians since 1948. And again, while the violence that we have seen on our TVs, the bombings, the devastation that has happened in Gaza, let us not forget that there are also forced expulsions and killings going on in the West Bank, illegal occupations in the West Bank, as well as other parts of broader historic Palestine. So we're wanting to say today, given the International Day of Commemoration, that we stand for all victims of genocide. And this is why we've chosen this particular location in Cape Town, in front of the Cape Town Holocaust and Genocide Center. It is clear that this center is very much in support of Israel. In fact, they have explicitly denied the genocide of Palestinians, and they continue to glorify Israeli war criminals. So for us, it is a very important statement to make, that when we say we stand against genocide, we have to say we do so for all people and not only for selected people.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've gone to the ICJ, and South Africa has taken the stand as far as its legal obligations is concerned. Is this something that you're going to pen out as well? We've outlined it in the ICJ's provisional measures regarding the case against Israel under the Genocide Convention. And is this something that you're going to bring to the fore today as well, besides taking a stand? We know that, of course, action has to take place, and there's no ceasefire happening as we speak. Is that something that you're going to really try and drill into the people to say, this is something that we need done? If you look at the horrific, footage that we look at, it's definitely just not genocide, but as you say, a Holocaust as well.
Absolutely, and we have to uh, continue to raise our voices to call for an immediate ceasefire, but we cannot end our call there. So while we're calling for an immediate ceasefire to bring relief to the people of Gaza who are facing daily bombings, we are also extending that call to an end to the illegal occupation, the recognition of Palestinian people's right to self-determination, and crucially, the right of return for all Palestinian refugees. So for us, while the ICJ case has been, a pivotal moment, a historic moment, and South African government has taken the lead in this regard, we still feel that we need to continue to pressure our own government to uphold its legal obligations. This commitment that they have made to take to take Israel to the ICJ, and the major advances they've made there with respect to at least the recognition and acknowledgement of a plausible genocide on the part of the ICJ. We now need our government to step up, to continue to put the pressure on Israel, to isolate Israel through stopping all forms of trade, in particular all arms trade to Israel, and also energy embargoes and sanctions need to be implemented against Israel now. So while our government has taken this legal route and has taken the lead in that regard, we are wanting our government to also take the lead in terms of implementing sanctions against Israel. The BDS call has been for boycott, divestment, and sanctions.
Sanctions.
Civil society has been at the forefront of consumer boycotts, but we need our government to step up to implement sanctions against Israel, so that the economic sphere, the cultural sphere, is also affected, so that Israel can become a pariah state in the world, and other states can follow South Africa's lead in this regard.
What message do you have for all those communities out there? Should they come out in numbers and take a stand with you, join you on this particular day to be able to make, should we say, a mark and make people understand that we are not going to stop with this fight?
Absolutely. And, it's a message that I think we say all the time. We cannot get tired. The people of Gaza, the people of Palestine, they don't have an option to be tired of this genocide, of this ongoing oppression and annihilation that they are facing. So we don't have that option. We cannot get tired of raising our voices in solidarity with the Palestinians. And as long as there are people that exist amongst our own communities
Mm-hmm.
who remain silent, number one, but are also complicit um, in their silence. And in particular, we're talking about big businesses in South Africa who have the option, for example, to divest, to stop stocking Israeli products, to stop sending money to the IOF. As we know, there are many businesses who support Zionist organizations. So as
Mm-hmm.
long as we have those things happening within our own country, we have to stand up and raise our voices. And our activists on the ground across the country have done all kinds of kind of protests to raise these voices, and people must find their spaces to stand up alongside these people who are raising their voices in solidarity with Palestine.
Most definitely. And as we know, late Nelson Mandela said that, we are not free until the Palestinians are free. and we need to carry on with that fight. How do we, I always say that we look at these really horrific images and it affects us in many directions, but it's not having to stop. As you say, it's to carry on with that resilience and that power to be able to say that we're still taking that stand irrespective of what is going on. We're going to make sure that we reach that end goal to be able to make sure that these Palestinians are free in some way. And they always talk about the two-state solution. What is your take on that?
Well, given our own experience in South Africa, we have had the experience of compromise, number one, but we've also had the experience of having a two-state solution wanting to be kind of enforced on us through the Bantustans, and we recognize those for what they were. It was an unjust solution. And so we continued our struggle for one democratic South African state, and we believe that this would be the most just solution for Palestinians. But we also recognize the right of Palestinians for self-determination. So while we as Palestine Solidarity Campaign do not in any way either support or advocate the two-state solution as a just solution, it is for the Palestinians to take that step, to find that space in terms of their own self-determination. But as far as we can see, there de facto is no two states anyway. Israel has annexed all of his or most of historic Palestine. So to talk about the two-state solution is really a myth at this point in time, which the world really can recognize. So for us, it really is calling from the river to the sea for one democratic state of Palestine, where everyone who lives within that state is free, and everybody who was expelled from that state are free to return to Palestine.
A lot of the times, people within the communities of South Africa have questions, and the question is, how do we carry on with this momentum? What is it that we do? I know you mentioned the BDS, doing the boycotts as such. Many people have joined that. How else can we assist to be able to push this agenda?
At this point, I think, our biggest gain would be if we can succeed in getting Parliament to pass the anti-apartheid bill, which the PSC took to Parliament in October, and we wanting the South African Parliament to pass an anti-apartheid bill that would legislate, number one, sanctions against Israel, but also any cooperation with any organizations that are complicit with Israel, and to prosecute all South Africans who are serving illegally in the Israeli occupation forces. So that really for us is the next step. It is our government that needs to step up, and we as civil society need to continue to put pressure on our government to do so. Energy embargo, arms embargoes, these are real practical issues that our government has the power
Right.
to
Yes.
implement.
Thank you so much for joining us today. That was very insightful. And of course, we're just telling the people to join you on the Solidarity campaign. Protest is taking place outside the Cape Town Holocaust Genocide Centre in Hatfield Road in Cape Town. So do join them and take a stand, and let's make a difference. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a pleasant day going forward, and inshallah, we'll chat to you real soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Alaikum salam.
barakatuh.
Thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity.
It was only a pleasure. That was Sister Jaamia Galant, and joining us, of course, on talking about their stand that's going to be taking place today. Do join them in Cape Town as they go to the Holocaust Centre. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you in a second.